Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks DIY Garage. Well, I got my truck up on the lift here. I got it jacked up so that I can pull the tires off. So we are to the point where I need to pull these off, and we're going to be doing the brakes. Now, caveat on that. Anything I say as far as pricing, I'm hoping I can find. I bought this brake setup over a year ago probably. So I don't even know if you can buy it still on Amazon. I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember a whole lot about it. So I'm hoping there's a lot of paperwork in this box I'm about to open up. I did open it up, and I'm hoping I didn't pull the paperwork out and put it somewhere else. But I did open it up, make sure that I'm pretty sure that everything should fit where it's supposed to fit, and it should be right. I did make sure of that when I bought it. But then, as with many of my projects, life got a hold of me, and I pretty much have all but shut down my truck to where we're not using it. Then COVID hit. I was gonna plan on getting it ready to go camping the next summer, and then COVID hit, and I just it was just down on the list of things that needed done. So we should be able to pull this off. Now, I'm going to say something right now because I know there'll be comments about how bad this is. And believe me, I know how bad this is. Now, keep in mind also, this was my very first video I ever did, was the brakes on this thing. And I'm going on 8 years now. So these were done probably at least 8 years ago, because I probably didn't put that video up for a little while because it was just one of my kids' school projects, and I wasn't even knowing I was going to do YouTube at that time. So very first video, and they were kind of getting bad. I even talk about it, that they were kind of going bad at that time. So they are way past their prime, and I know it. And here are the new rotors here. And I'm sure I'll be able to find a name, but I didn't see any paperwork. There's nothing on these boxes. You know, they appear to be basically probably what would come stock, and then somebody put the gas slots in them and you know, call them slotted rotors, which I was expecting. I didn't pay a whole lot yet again. I'll find the name and the prices I paid at the time. Hopefully I can find all that stuff. I'm sure I will probably be able to find it. I'm sure they're probably still on Amazon. There was a lot of these at the time anyways, and they did come with new pads. I have on a ratchet here a 3/8 Torx bit here. If I remember correctly on this one, and I don't probably completely remember because I've done so many brake jobs, these pins need to be pulled out a bit to get them out of the way. This one sits nicely on top of the A-arm, but if yours doesn't do that for some reason, make sure you're not hanging it by the brake line, as everybody always says. Alright, so that is out of the way, and this is where things change. Normally your rotor would pull off. Well, this has a different way of doing it, and I've never done one of these before, so I'm not sure if I have to pull this. I'm actually gonna go read my book. That's what everybody should do. You should always read your book even before you really watch somebody else do it, because the book might have better tips and tricks. You never know. Here you go. Barely anything left at all. That's pretty bad. That's the worst I've ever rode brakes before. But I knew these needed replaced from the last time I did them. So, to each his own. Yep, that one is, you can see why I was having trouble getting it off. There's ripples right here that are ground right down into the same groove as the rest of it, and there's even a little bit of metal there. Wow, I am kind of ashamed. I have done some research here and figured out, first of all, that my book sucks. Secondly, that right here, and then there's two more on the other side of this. There's 15mm nuts, and I have, since PB blasted these a couple times and let them sit, I also PB blasted up in here and down through the top and everywhere I could, because all this is kind of stuffed into here. You can see where there's whatever this coating is coming off, but regardless, so hopefully it comes out of there. I actually did it on the other side and it came out fine, but these boogers here are pretty tough. I started out with just a 3/8 regular breaker bar with a 15mm socket, and I did end up rounding one off a little bit, but luckily I got this 15mm, which I bought for something else. I don't remember what it was. It is a Craftsman one. It's the 5-point, so it goes just directly over there. But take that, put it on there, get it on there good, best you can. And you will need a large 1/2-inch breaker bar to get these off. Let's see, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I'm going to be coming up with this one. So hopefully, and you are going to need to be able to turn your steering wheel. So this whole thing is turned this way as far as I can get it. And it is nice to have this one here, because if I couldn't bring it in, I probably wouldn't be able to get a hold of it. Hoping I can kind of hold this here and push up with my shoulder and just give her a heck until it breaks loose. The other side, I got all 4 of them by hand, but it took some effort. I'm gonna knock it back in here. Be really careful. You have your rig on jack stands right now. You may be lifting it up, because there's a lot of pressure I'm putting against this. Okay. Boy, this is tighter than the other one, and I actually, because I'm filming it. Okay. I think we got that loose enough. Alright, now we'll go to the other side. Alright, now we're on the other side, on the bottom one down here. These are a little easier to get to here. I'm pulling down, which makes life a little bit easier. Unless it breaks. Oh, please don't break. More strips. Oh boy. That may have just stripped out. Hopefully not. I'm going to go to the upper one here. This one. Enjoy the ride. Nope, this one is just gonna strip, I think. Son of a gun. Well, I'm gonna go with a different one here. Good, the bad, the ugly. Sometimes that's what all you get. Okay. Holy Moses. Alright. That was all and everything I had on top of that fairly large breaker bar there. Whew. Alright, I'm gonna stick this one back on there and see if that did turn, and it did. Now we got this outer nut here. And quite honestly, I don't know what size it is. I do not have a wrench nor a socket that is this size. You could probably use a crescent wrench and try and fight it off, but I have that I bought for another job. I don't know what for. It's practically brand new, so I must have used it for one time. So I probably should go buy one for this, and I still might, but this pulled the one off the other side, and it's a 36 millimeter, and it fits over there pretty well. It's a little bit loose, but I'm going to use it. And it doesn't seem to hurt it too awful bad. And we'll pull that off of there. And then on the other side anyway, this worked. I was able to take a mallet and knock this back quite a ways. And then it all just wanted to pull off, but it seems to be coming out pretty well so far. Pull it out a little bit, hit it with an mallet, pull it out. Oh, you know what? I did this on the other side too, and I, yet again, was stupid. Don't do what I just did. At least not yet. Alright, I almost really screwed things up again here. Hopefully I didn't. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up. But right here, running up along here is... right along here, and it plugs in right here, is the brake ABS sensor system. And this one actually is already broken, the little clip that clips on here, so that will pull apart there. Usually there's a clip right here you got to kind of pull out with your thumb and undo it. Oh no, it's on this side. Looks like it works on both sides. So there you go. That one's pretty easy to get. I don't know why there's one there and one there, but regardless, push out on that with your thumb and it'll undo. Then you got to go along, and it's inside of a bunch of keepers, and I just used a big screwdriver and kind of pried them out and got those out. So you're gonna need to do that before you do what I just showed you. Now that you've seen me make a mistake and you know better, once that's out, you just got to kind of wind it out through here, and that should come with everything, we hope. Yep, there you go. So now we got this on the bench here, and we can kind of bring this off of here. The other one actually came out through there, so I don't know if that's bent a little bit or what. I'll stick that back under my truck here, which gives us this whole setup here. So if you need to change your bearing, you'll also be able to do that as well. We got to get these lugs out of here, and I got a couple of 4x4s here. which I like 4x4s rather than 2x4s because they are a little bit more stable. So I started popping these out. I found a nut that was in the drawer there that had kind of an acorn cover on it, so to speak, and I was putting that on there and I was cinching it down and knocking it out just using sledgehammer. Well, unfortunately, somewhere along the way, and I didn't notice, but the inside of this got kind of bunged up, and it actually did damage 3 of my lugs. So I'm going to have to go buy some new lugs. So after that, I decided, because this is how everybody kind of tells you to do it. Put a lug nut on there, but these are the only ones I have that'll fit, which are the ones I use on my truck, and I didn't want to damage these, which in hindsight, a new set of these wouldn't hurt anyway, but right now I'm not to that point in my truck where I want to replace stuff like that, or the stuff I'm going to have to. But what I did find was this right here. Yet again, you should probably use brass. I cannot find, I have a brass punch thing that I've used in the past and cannot find it. But this works because it has kind of a rounded edge, so to speak, and this is just a pin out of a rear end of a rig for the pinion gears. So anyhow, that's what I'm using. Also, I have a press. Quite honestly, it takes forever, and I just don't want to deal with it, and you're basically pushing on the same stuff. The big thing is don't stand up here and go like this. Make sure you're nice and sturdy down on there. Look at the part that you're hitting. And these do not have threads right on the outside. They have a bit of a bump there. So at least with mine, this works fine. And those just knock right out. So then just go around and knock them all out. There you go. Much more simple than what I tried to make it into before. And then I had a bit of trouble getting the other one off of here because it kind of seized in this area, which I did put some PB blaster in here the other day before I started working on this. And there is kind of a little bit of a lip here. And I'm just kind of slowly and carefully with the cord here. I'm going to push this back through in case it doesn't drop. But anyhow, just kind of doing a bit of a tap on it out here just to kind of break some of the rust loose here. This will get hung up, so you got to kind of manage it, but once you kind of got it a little bit broke loose, you can take, actually found this, but I think this would probably work too, I don't know. But there's a little spot down in here where you can kind of break it loose a little bit here. There we go. Then yet again, there's little ears that you got to kind of put through first, and then that brings that around there, and we will discard this. I pulled these out and I kind of looked at them, but you know, with this in my truck, I just kind of eyeballed it. And I am seeing, like I thought, this right here, if I bring that all the way down to the edge there, off of that, is hitting there. If I do the same thing right here, I am a good 1/4 inch or more lower here. So this from here to here is definitely bigger than it is from here to here. But I will also say that this is a lot thicker than that on both sides here. Well, I got parts in the mail now. I went ahead and found some lug bolts from Rabestis brake parts. It says brake parts, but these are not brake parts, but regardless. On Amazon, I'll put the price below. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 of them for that price. There was some where I could get a lot more for less money, but I don't need that many, hopefully. And so we went ahead and got those. Also, these are for the bearings there that I stripped out on the back a little bit. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. I will put the price below. They are from Dorman, also on Amazon. And yet again, I'm going to use the ones that are in good shape and then replace the bad ones with these here, just to save a couple bucks, and hopefully that won't bite me later on down the road if I do have problems and have to take things apart. But at the very least, I'll be able to get these ones out. So, and I got some brake fluid, did a video on this because it was a pretty decent price, had good reviews, so go check out my review in my playlist. Now we are going to put this here and start cleaning this off. Alright, I don't know how much you saw that before I was just kind of cleaning it up. I had some Scotch-Brite, some brake clean, a couple of toothbrushes, and a rag. So anyhow, now that I have that semi cleaned up here, I'm fairly happy with it. Got all the surfaces that are gonna come together cleaned up anyhow. It is time to put this thing back in here. Now I did take off the ABS wire. It was a 5mm Allen wrench to take that off. So, and right about now I'm putting the second one together, and I'm realizing that right about now on the last one I should have anti-seized all this underneath here. Because obviously between here and here is a very good chance that bad things could happen. Quite honestly, it kind of looks like they're a little bit on there anyway. Hopefully I didn't screw up, but worst case scenario, I'll be replacing this bearing next time I do it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and throw a glove on and go ahead and do that with this one. But just so you know, probably should do that. That's how you end up hurting your hand. And quite honestly, I think I'm going to stick this on and make sure that this is going to work. Because this is definitely a little bit different than the other one was. Right off the bat. Well, it fits on there, everything goes on, but honestly I don't know. When I go to put the brakes on, we'll have to see if everything lines up. I might have to do some shimming on the brakes, I'm not sure. Now, I put 2 of the new ones in here, one here and one over here, just to kind of separate where they are. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and that should take care of everything, hopefully. These are newer, you can tell, because they are definitely going to be more difficult to get in. So I'm going to throw some anti-seize on there, and we'll go from there. Then I realized this goes on where that goes, so I need to clean this up, put some anti-seize on this as well. And again, I got a little ahead of myself there. I need to clean all this up as well. So once again, I'm hoping it's not going to be more difficult because I kind of forgot. I'm going to stick this back in here. So if you mess up your ABS lines, you can do this, and there are replacements on Amazon, I believe. This may have been easier to put on before I did put it back together, to be honest. Trying not to kill the wires here, and lifting the weight and getting it on the spline and making all 4 bolts line up. The first thing we're going to do is try and get the backing plate to stay where it needs to stay. We got to kind of lift it all up at the same time. It's not a great design in my opinion, on at least not on making things do it. We're going to have to definitely clean up these rotors all said and done anyway, but I'm making a mess of things with these gloves already with the NICs, so there you go, now you know. Okay, well, there's that. Alright, I got my new bolts here for this one. I'm just going to go for the easiest one I can see here. And try to maneuver things around a little bit. We're a little ways off. I was hoping I could kind of turn things while it was on here a little bit. But that doesn't seem to change where the holes line up. So I'm going to have to kind of pull this out and move it and get in your way, because those ears have to line up with the holes back here. There we go. Alright, I got one in. Hopefully that means the rest will line up. Probably not. Might have been easier to do these ones first, because I can reach up in here and kind of manipulate the ears a little bit on this one. And right now I am just making sure that they're all going to go where I want them to go into the respective holes. So I'm just kind of not really tightening them down, just getting them tight. Now here's what's going on. I did not notice any kind of Loctite on these, and these things were the tightest bolts probably I've ever tried to undo. So I am assuming there is some sort of Loctite on these, so I want to put some back, because this falls off and your wheel is leaving you. I mean, it's a pretty important part. The nut on the outside, it could even fall off and you'd probably be okay. You might bust up your axle and that kind of stuff, but as far as it flinging off of there, you might hear some noises, but you're probably not going to lose your tire and wheel. These 4 bolts come out, and you're probably going to lose, well, you will lose at some point, the whole wheel, tire, hub, everything. So these are very important, and I feel like I've got them in enough now to where I'm going to take the Permatex, it's high strength orange thread locker. It is supposed to be as strong as red, but be removable, because at some point I'm gonna have to be able to remove these, because like I said, all this needs to come back apart. Although when I do this, I will probably just do it at the ball joints, but I still want to be able to, you know, at some point this bearing is probably going to go bad and it's going to need some attention. So this is somewhat got to come off of here at some point. Worst case scenario, if you just could not get these out, you'd have to take these off at the ball joints here and pull this out and drill them out, and it would suck. And I hope I never have to do that. But I also have noticed that when I put the anti-seize on the face of this, some of it has gotten down and onto these threads as well. So I really don't want them backing off. So I'm going to put a little bit of the thread locker on here all the way across and put those boobies back in. I'm going to go ahead and put a decent reef on these. Let's see, ready, tight. So this is going to go down. I have not checked what the actual torque specs are on these yet, but they gotta be stupid, so I know I can at least by hand get these pretty darn close to where they need to be. And I'm probably going to go kind of side to side too, actually, so that I get an even torque on kind of corner to corner here, at least for now. I have my torque wrench here, and from according to my book, this is supposed to be 133 foot-pounds. Which I'm pretty well at, so I either got it there or over torqued it. We'll see. Right now I'm not going to do a whole lot other than leave it there, so that one also appears to be where it's supposed to be, or too much. So I may have over tightened it with this, so you may want to go directly to a torque wrench. Oh, well, hello. Alright, well, I'm going to show you something else I did. I don't know what in the world or where it happened at. I'm going to show you a little thing here. I don't know what happened. Somehow I missed one of these. Didn't actually get it pounded in. But there is one of my lugs is back here, so I'm going to have to get that out. I may be tearing this apart again. But regardless, showing all the flaws. This was down inside there. Also, this one here is loose. All the rest of them seem okay, but I couldn't get this to turn around or get it out because it was hanging up on there. But what I did is took a magnet and was able to get in there and pull that out. So now, because I messed something up here, I will show you how to fix that. For testing purpose, I went ahead and pulled this one out, and I was able to actually just use this impact, electric impact, to do this. And I think it worked out better because when I was trying to do it before, it kind of was pushing it back. So you got to kind of hold this out, put this down as far as you can get it to go, and hope, and kind of pull against it as you do that. That actually doesn't want to go down any farther, so hopefully we're not needing to replace this one, but and that seems to work pretty okay. It's about the same as all the rest of them. In fact, this one actually looks like it could use a little bit more in itself. And these are all where they need to be. Yet again, because I have new ones here anyway, and probably just from because I did this, you really should come back a little bit later on and retorque your lug nuts after a while, just to make sure everything, after you've done all this stuff, everything is where it needs to be. We have the hub nut left here, which should be fairly simple. We got to put this washer on there, and then I don't know if this is a one-time use only type nut, but quite honestly, like I mentioned before, I'm not going to worry about it. Regardless, I'm going to Loctite it with some of this orange Permatex. Not a sponsor, but I really like this product, and I have actually done a little bit of testing on it and found that it works well. And according to my book, my hub nut here is supposed to be at 165. Well, unfortunately, my torque wrench only goes to 150. At some point I'm going to have to see if I can get a bigger torque wrench, because I've needed it to go higher a few times. So I'm going to get it to the 150, and then I'm going to take my breaker bar and give it a little bit more. But for right now, at least I know I'll be at least at 150. And by the way, I have a screwdriver up in here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's holding it from turning. Okay, so there is 150 right there. Once again, I gotta kind of play it by ear because I don't want to strip it. Alright. And once again, I'll keep an eye on things. Next time I do this, I will make sure I take a look at that. So the last thing I need to do before I button this up is get this into its perspective place. And yet again, it just kind of goes in these clips here all the way up, and then it plugs in right here. And there's definitely a specific way it goes, but it's pretty easy to figure out. Quite honestly, I don't like this hanging here. I'm thinking it's supposed to maybe be up in here somewhere. I'm not really sure on that, so I'm probably going to take a look and see if I can even wire tie that up in there somewhere. But for the most part, it just kind of goes into its perspective clips. You know what else? I'm thinking it needs to go on the other side of this brake line right here, because I could see that rubbing right there. So, and I don't believe it was. We'll have to go back and look in the video if you want to know. But I'm going to, I think, put this up around here. That's something you got to pay attention to, even if it was ran a different way, which it may have been ran this way, and it could have just be I didn't remember. But make sure things are not rubbing where they shouldn't be rubbing. Yeah, that seems more like it should be in that area. I'm going to have to mess with this clip because this clip was boogered up. Now it's time for the caliper. Now it's time to put things together. Couple things. From here on out, try as you may not to get your gloves all greasy and dirty. And try your best not to get any grease or dirt on these especially. Or on here. That's the other thing. Clean this, the back part of this, while you can still turn and get it here, because you can't really reach it very well anywhere else. So make sure you do this back part one more time before you do the rest of this. Something else, I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I should have did this before I put my new gloves on. And I'm going to put a little bit just along these edges here. And I'm just going to use this glove now that it's already got stuff on it, and I'm going to replace this glove. this one here, it's got the square bottom end here that goes down in this hole. Hopefully it'll fit down in there. And then it's got a little tab on the back here that pushes into the hole there and snaps in. I got to set this up where I can get to it. Anyhow, hopefully you can see this now. That one went in there. These got these little tangs that go in the holes down here, and they're a pain in the butt. They're kind of finger biters. I hate this design. Chevy brake design sucks. I'm going to just flat out say it. And they've had it this way for a long time and don't seem to get a clue. I'm thinking Chevy guys don't buy their own products and do their own work on them if they do. Alright, I'm already seeing problems with this, but we shall see. That gap right there is definitely, I don't think, going to fit over this. I think I need to push this in further before it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we are a long way off. Proof that you really, before you buy parts or within the 30-day limit, you need to get your parts on. There's no way that that gap, no matter how much I push this in, is going to fit over this. Well, I'm not sure how this is all gonna edit together, but in the end, this does not work. I did some measurements, I did some checking around, and quite honestly, when I bought the rotors here, it did say something about dually rear end. Come to find out, the dually front end brakes, for some reason, ta-da, are about a quarter or a little more wide in this area right here. From here to here and here to here is quite a bit wider. I went ahead and, because I was having problems, just got a hold of O'Reilly's and checked to see what they had, and they happen to have, this is how I figured out it was the dually was different, is he asked me, is it this one or that one? And I'm like, he's like, one is bigger and one is smaller, because I have no idea. And I said, oh, I bet you I need the bigger one, but I have the smaller one, which this is the bigger one. All, like I said, all this right here, all the same, except for this is over here on the on the one I have. It's a ½ inch over this way, and the boots aren't here. But all in all, this is all the same. This, the mounting should work and everything like that. So I took and went there, got these. These are for my truck, but for the dually are $39.99. It was cheaper if you had the single wheel like what I've needed to replace. So if that's what you're using, it was a little bit cheaper. But there is a $25 core charge. So altogether I got $141.55 minus 50 bucks. So I'm going to get 50 bucks back on that, $141.55. So I'll let you do the math, but it's $39.99 plus tax is what you're going to pay. So I'm going to undo this. It came with a new one of these, so I can get rid of it, and I'm going to replace that one with this one. And we are already starting to lose brake fluid. So it comes with a bolt, and it's got holes in it there, and a couple of copper washers. Copper washer should go one on one side, one on the other, bolt in the middle. So I got a copper washer on there. Copper washer goes on this side as well. Then, quite honestly, I'm going to put the brake on here maybe. Oh, helps to put it on the right way. Redo this in a little while, but it's going to be like that. And then this will probably only go one way from there. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I know I'm not getting it, but I don't really care if I lose a lot of brake fluid. It's more just I want to not make a huge mess. I'm going to put these on. Quite honestly, I can't tell if this has like a primer or paint on it or not. Probably not, so I probably should have painted these, but yet again, decide not to. They're probably going to get rusty the way they are right now, but those will go in there. And same thing, we're just going to take it and put it on here. But actually I am, since I've been messing with this so much again here, that will get this back on here, and that inner one fell out. Don't tell me that's a different bracket. Oh, okay. I think I'm breathing a little easier now. I just didn't set this down enough on the bottom bracket here. Okay, so there's that. I think we're good there. Now the last part is finding the bolts, and we are going to go ahead and put some lube on these. So between this being thicker and having my slots, these brakes should in theory be a little bit of an upgrade from stock for sure. Even if you were just to go to the dually setup on the front end of your car or your truck, if for some reason it doesn't have a dually setup. So might be a budget thing, budget upgrade so to speak, if you just, oops, so I dumped brake fluid all over, but a budget upgrade so to speak if you just were to put stock dually parts on your rig. But regardless, so far everything's fitting. Thank goodness. I was a little bit nervous there, and quite honestly an extra what, $70 or so at the most to upgrade these, which needed upgraded anyways, or put new ones on. Doesn't hurt my feelings a bit as far as that. But all in all, I think we are pretty well done, finally. Also, something I should throw in here is before you go wheeling on these and towing trailers and going on the freeway and tailgating, probably me, please bed in your brakes. I've done a video on that. I believe it was on my Astro van, so go check that out. There's probably several videos out there on how to bed in your brakes. There's a process to it, and some brake companies say you should, some brake companies say it doesn't matter. I have always done it, and I've always gotten a lot of, as you can tell out of these brakes, a lot of use out of my brakes. I have rarely have brakes that go bad too soon. I have had a couple, but mainly because I bought the cheapest thing I could get. And I will say, brakes are something I am getting away from buying the cheapest thing, because I have noticed the quality in the cheap ones are just so poor that chunks of them will come off, and then you end up with rotors that are messed up. Well, YouTube, I'm not gonna lie, this was a bit of a brain teaser, and kind of caught me off guard a couple times, but it's proof that sticking with it will get it done sooner or later. Regardless, it did take me a little bit longer, but if you do this and you have all the dually set up that you need, it appears like it will fit on the front end. Now, wait till the end of this video, because if I come back, that means I had a problem with something rubbing or something. I will put it at the end of this video. If nothing happens or I don't notice anything right away anyways, I'll end this video here. So, in that case, if you want to see anything else on this truck, I have several videos. Please go check out my playlist on my channel, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Junkworks DIY Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all, and I am obviously master of none. You all have a good one.